Well, no, I'm not sure whether that's Padre fan that's upset at me or that's Dodger fan that's upset at me, because we kind of cover it as it happens and we have opinions about what happens. And what happens on Monday might be different than what happens on Thursday. What happens in game 2 surely could be different than what happens in game 5. Don't begrudge me the fact that it's my podcast. I have a right to have an opinion. That being said, how about the Dodgers? Management, ownership, President Andrew Friedman has now stamped this as the golden era of Dodger baseball. And that says a lot considering the many, many great years they've had back as the Brooklyn Dodgers, the early Los Angeles Dodgers, the era of Smokey Alston, the era of Tom Lasorda, and now the era of Dave Roberts. 5 times they've been to the World Series. They have now won 2 World Series rings under Dave Roberts. They have 10 division titles under Dave Roberts. This is special. Yankee fan, and I just came through New York, they are so angry that the Yankees self-destructed.
They did.
Own it. Wear it. You caused it. 3 defensive mistakes in 1 inning led to them losing the 5-0 lead, led them to losing that game to the Dodgers, led them to Dodgers celebrating on the field at Yankee Stadium with the World Series trophy. I think the most stunning thing to me, Garrett Cole, who I think is one of the great pitchers in Major League Baseball, they did not get a win in either one of his 2 starts. Aaron Judge totally disappeared. Scouting report figured him out. His game went away. He started to panic. He started to pressure. He started to swing at stuff he'd never hit. Went 3 for 20 in the series, and of course he made one of those bad defensive plays. But let's talk about the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman, 4 home runs in 4 games, the record. Freddie Freeman surviving the significant ankle injury. Freddie Freeman having to live through the horrors of nearly losing his 3-year-old son who got sick in midseason. The Dodgers won this thing with Ohtani going 3 for 20. Go think about that. The Dodgers preserved the World Series victory because the pitcher who was 1-6 with an ERA of 6.28, Walker Buehler, during the regular season, threw 13 straight shutout innings.
Jeez.
And when he told Dave Roberts, "Get the F off my mound," when Roberts came to pull him in the game at Petco Park, I think it changed everything as it relates to the Dodgers' approach to things. And then how about Team Utility Man? I mean, they would not have won this thing, been there playing, had it not been for the heroics of Kiki Hernandez or Tommy Edman. And how about Blake Trinan? 42 pitches in an inning plus out of the bullpen so they could get to Buehler in the clinching game. Mookie Betts wins his 3rd World Series ring. Teo Hernandez, a 1-year rental, hits 33 home runs. And they survived 8 surgeries and the trauma that was their bullpen in the middle of the season. I will say this, they were all in. They bought everything the analytics guys presented. They executed it. They trusted the decisions made in the dugout. They played for each other. And I think the most unique thing about Dave Roberts' approach to dealing with this roster of millionaires, billionaires, he got them to park their ego at the front of the clubhouse door, come in and be ball players, because the name on the front of the jersey was more important than the name on the back of the jersey. I mean, it was just spectacular. And then we go to see what happens now that the offseason's begun. In New York, they're going crazy. They think Juan Soto is going to be a Dodger. I don't know that I buy that. In Los Angeles, they're all amped because they think the Dodgers have the inside track to get the Japanese young pitcher, Rory Sasaki. Clayton Kershaw, surgery this week on his toe and meniscus in his knee. He'll be ready for spring training. And what did the country think of the World Series? We know what the Globe thought. They averaged 15.8 million viewership for each of the Yankee-Dodger games, highest since 2017. In the 9th inning of the final game where the Dodgers won this thing, they had over 20 million viewers for that 9th inning.
Wow.
And in Japan, highest TV ratings ever. Not for the Tokyo Giants, not for the Prime Minister's speech, not for a fire or an earthquake. 20.8 million average in Japan to watch the Yankees and the Dodgers. And by the way, this World Series, when it went head-to-head with the NFL, this World Series last Monday night beat the NFL in the TV ratings.
Really?
What a spectacular season for Major League Baseball. So, Dodger Blue equals Dodger royalty. Hell of a job. And I can't imagine the heartache in San Diego from ownership to the general manager to the manager to the players, because they thought they had a team that should have been playing in the World Series, but they couldn't beat the team that won the World Series, the Dodgers. Dodgers are still the big boy. The Padres are still a wannabe, as I view it at this point in time. But hats off to Dave Roberts. Hell of a job organizationally. What a roster. This might be a one-time thing, but this time it counted. This time they got the ring. That's all that counts. 2 World Series rings in 5 years. That's pretty impressive. That's what I had to say. John Riley, the floor is yours.
I grew up a Giants fan, and I've been a Padre fan since the late 80s. And so this is tough for me to say, but you have to tip your hat to the Dodgers.
Yes.
Yeah, you do. I mean, as a baseball team, they went out there, they got it done. They went to Yankee Stadium. They won Game 5. The part that we had been talking all summer about how the pitching staff was a shambles. There was people on the injured reserve list. It was like a mash unit in the bullpen. And Dave Roberts had this history of making bad decisions. And then suddenly everything flipped 180 degrees. And Dave Roberts is a genius. And all these pitchers turned into Sandy Koufax. How does that happen?
Most amazing thing to me, and it's got to do with the fact they got healthy and they got hot at the right time. Because back when we had this dialogue in July and August, when I did the opinion piece that they were the epicenter of all the pitching injuries in baseball, and the Dodger way no longer worked. Well, that was true at that point in time, but they got their hurt guys back healthy. And to see Buehler do what Buehler did, 13 shutout innings against the Padres and then against the Yankees at the most important time of the year, that was really, really significant. Now, no team is the same team next year. This could be a different team, but they're going to get all those injured guys back by the time they go to Camelback Ranch in February. So I was just tremendously impressed how they came together as a team and how egoless they were. I mean, the accomplishments of the greatness at the top of the batting order, that's pretty impressive. And I know baseball fan, Padre fan will bark, well, the best team that money can buy. Yes, but they had to earn it.
Yeah, they did.
And I think that's a critical thing.
Yeah.
And I could have never imagined the Yankees would go off track the way the Yankees did at the end of the season after they had rallied from the middle of the season when they were staggering to be so strong down the stretch and then have it all just fall apart. Nothing from Judge and no wins when Garrett Cole pitched. That, to me, was a real stunner. I think what the Dodgers accomplished was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so joyed for Dave Roberts because I have such respect for him as a athlete here at Rancho Buena Vista High, the guy that made himself a major league player, what he accomplished, not just in San Diego, not with the Dodgers, but also what he did with the Red Sox.
Oh, yeah, he's a legend.
And obviously what he's become as a manager, a button pusher, and a guy that collectively holds together rosters. I'm so excited for him to do this. And then he got a phone call from the vice president, Harris, after the victory at Dodger Stadium. I saw the video and I said, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So cool. I was just so impressed with Dodger baseball. So you're a Dodger fan. You should be excited. You should say, that was a hell of a summer we had. And if you're a Padre fan, this was a great baseball season. Ownership has made Padre baseball a destination point at Petco Park, but this was a great disappointment. Next year, they got 1 year left to do this before all the bills come due for all the trades that A.J. Preller has made. Next year might be their year. But at this point, they're still not the Dodgers because they haven't beaten the Dodgers at the most important time of the season. Reaction?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, scoreboard. That's what Jim Rome used to always say.
Scoreboard,
right?
baby.
Yeah. So you got to say, yeah. I mean, you got to say the Dodgers did it. The Padres choked. But I just want to focus on the Dodgers because they deserve the focus. How about Freddie Freeman? I mean, and everything that dude went through. And then I think about Tommy Edman and what a great pickup he has been. Local San Diego kid. He was making plays in center field and at shortstop.
And with his bat.
He was very productive. And then, I remember during the home run derby at the All-Star game, they interviewed Teoscar Hernandez, and he was there with his wife and his kid. And he was just a really good guy. And he was talking about how he came to LA because he wanted to win. And sure enough, he won. So when everyone shows up to Camelback Ranch in the spring, they're going to have like 80 quality players to fit on a roster.
I'm just so excited. And John, this was, of all the years that I've covered baseball as a talk show host and been in that Padre dugout, in that clubhouse and at the press conferences and all that, and done all the stuff I did covering the Dodgers, and even to a degree, the Angels. This was, to me, the most enjoyable baseball season I think I've ever experienced as working member of the media and as a fan kicking back, drinking a beer at home or hanging with you. There was just so many storylines and so much fun. And God, what Petco Park became downtown San Diego, it was just so electric. But what Dodger Stadium became, wow.
Yeah, wow. And just to put it all in context, baseball had been losing ground to football for decades. And baseball used to be number one, not anymore. But now you're saying baseball topped the NFL on Monday night. That is a surprise to me.
Yes.
But you could see that when they scheduled the World Series, I don't think they had any games on Sundays, did they?
No.
They would just avoid that one.
But phenomenal. So, hey, fans forum is open. Chat box is open. Pile in here. Salute the Dodgers if you wish. Critique or condemn the Yankees if you want. Tell us what impressed you the most about what you saw. This isn't a one-time flash in the pan thing because they got 2 World Series rings now in about a 5-year span, and they got all those division titles stacked up. Now, you can be bitter about the amount of money they spend, but baseball and the union allow this to happen. And until those rules change, the big markets, for the most part, are probably going to dominate. Okay, so we go from all things fall classic. God, what a glow. How cool.
It was great.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I came out of my chair watching these games on TV and said, oh, look at that. We go from that, because now the postseason is over. And just like